And we are live. We are live. Thank you so very much. Always do before I get too deep into anything and say too much. I just like to ask, can you see and hear me fine? We are doing a live stream, so there is a bit of a delay. That's just a known thing, but just can you see me and hear me? And how we actually communicate is via the chat, right? So just let me know via the chat. That's our communication tool, which there will be a lot of. So just let me know. Okay, I'm gonna take a few moments to just check. Also, we're just gonna take a few moments just to let a few more folks trickle in. Okay. But in the meantime, if you would let me know in the chat if you can see and hear me, that would be appreciated. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's pointless if we can't see and hear each other, so let's just get that out of the way. Thank you. So I think I'm just going to spin things up as people just kind of stroll on in. It is meant to be an informal session. And what is this about? The Heist and SQL mystery. How did this come about? Okay, well, it came about from us asking a question. Would you prefer to learn SQL in the traditional way? Just really about the core and the elements and the technical aspects of it, or in a gamified way, right? And you resounded with a very healthy yes to the gamified way of doing things. And here we are, right? Here we are. This is the Heist. And this is in response, direct response to this. Okay. So I'm just going to outline here in this session what this is supposed to be. Okay. Just a little format of how things are going to run. Okay. But before I get into that, let's talk a little bit. Where are you joining from? I'm in Miami at the moment, tuning in live. So it's sunny. It's probably kind of weird that I do have this t-shirt or sweater on, but it's cold in this room at least. But I'm tuning in from Miami. Where are you tuning in from? Again, the chats are a place to talk, and this is a session where we're going to really exchange. I'm going to be mouthing off for a little, but the intention is to really be in collaboration and conversation. Okay, so just let me know where you're tuning into or tuning in from. Okay. All right. Let me know in the chat. Just drop a word or two. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, as I mentioned, this is in response to whether you'd like to learn SQL in a gamified way or not. And again, I know there's a bit of delay. Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Brazil, Costa Rica, Toronto. Shout out. NC, North Carolina. Wispy, what's up? What's up? I see you. All right. Awesome. Norway. Wow. Vancouver. Big up Italy. All right. Big respect to all the international tune-ins. Brooklyn. Love it. Brooklyn, near and dear. Omaha. Awesome. Yeah, I got to pause to give the shout outs. It's super important. Whoa, Canada. Took a drive up there once. Beautiful. Love it. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for just letting me in. Now I feel a lot warmer, right? In a good way, right? Not in a hot way. I'm in Florida, like I said, but in a good way. All right. So thank you for all the love and sharing where you're from. And this is exactly what it's meant to be, really informal. And it's like this. So let me kind of run through the format of things. So as I mentioned, this is a free session. It first starts where you navigate to that link shown at the bottom. And that gives you access to the game, which is really just a course, right? And it's meant to be an intro course that tells you a little bit about SQL, how to navigate with it, the syntax, and really gets you up and running with analysis, but in a nice way, in a fun way, in a gamified way. So as you'll see, and I'm going to walk you through the first couple steps of getting set up. But the first step is to go to that waltershields.com/the heist. Okay. All right. I'm going to walk you through, but again, just some general rules. It's really meant to be informal. So come, leave when you want. It's not meant to be, hey, sit there and, you have to sit through the session. Really a show up, show in, show out whenever you like. It's really meant to also be how you like to do things. If you want to pair up, if you want to do things in a group. I know we're streaming now, so it's a little different. You might have to do things a little individually. And the biggest part of this session, it's really meant to encourage healthy question asking. That's why I'm here, right? And that's why that's the format. It's built around this cool lesson, which I think is cool. But the essence or the value of this is to please ask me questions, which you should inevitably have, right? If you're now walking into the thing called SQL. All right. So that's sort of the forum. That's sort of the informalness of it. You should be hearing some music in the background. That's deliberate. It's not by mistake. We want to be chill. If you have music requests, we will take some requests. Maybe not be able to do it right now, but for future sessions. And really want your input, right? It's just really meant to be a community vibe, community feel. By the way, I did this in New York in a very similar format, and it's really about community and being chill and sharing that vibe, okay? All right, so let's get into things. What I'm going to do now is just set you up, just get you up and running with getting started, okay? I'm going to start sharing my screen, so probably look a little strange as I navigate here a bit. So you should be seeing like the Twilight Zone a little bit now. But in one sec, let me just get this here. Okay. So I'm going to go from the start here. And go right here. Now, if you are not logged in or have not logged in already, let me just sign out. Show you what that looks like. You'll see this, right? So it's a very straightforward process. You go to this link, you sign up if you haven't, and it's free, and you have perpetual access to it, right? Once you do sign up, you join if you put very straightforward information. But once you're signed up, which I am already, I just log in. Okay, so that gets me in, and once you're signed up and you do sign in, this is what you're actually greeted with, okay? So you have this screen here, and you start where it says start here. So once you first log in, you just simply click on start here. Before I click on start here, I'm just going to give you an overview of things. You just see the progression of things. I mean, it's really nothing more than you go from left to right, start here, introduction, SQL basics, and so forth. The solutions are also there. Let me just put that out there. It's really meant to be, introduction to things. And it's not really a test of any sort. It's really meant to be fun. But I would advise or say it's much more fun to go through the sessions. Only look at the solutions if you feel like you really need to verify things after at least having given the questions a try, okay? All right, so let's start by going to start here. And what this is just an overview of things. It just tells you the overview, the three main components of the lesson: introduction, SQL basics, and who stole it. And then we have some resources. Down here to the bottom left, you just click on the introduction, and that's the navigation. I'm just going to skip to the bottom really quick to see. You can just simply go back and forward. We could go back to the start here. We go to introduction next. So that's the main navigation. Super simple, super straightforward. Okay. Let me just go back one here. And what I'm going to do is walk you through now the main components or the main things, tools that you're going to need for this lesson. And what that is a sample database and the software that you're actually going to be using with that sample database. Okay, so right here to the top, to get started, install the SQLite database software. When I click on that link, it takes you to this page, okay? Once you're on this page, you can simply read the instructions, which is super straightforward, but I'm going to walk you through this step by step here. But to the left here, it just tells you how to download the sample database, which is this big button on the left here. Wanted to make it big. And to the right, there is the database software that you're going to be using with this course. And I'll talk more about it, but it is SQLite. And it has to the left down here, both for Windows and Mac, how to install that. But I'm going to walk you through this right now. Okay. So step one is download the sample database. So you simply click on that item on the left, and voila, you have a download of WSDA DB database. Okay. I'm going to pause for a little bit and ask, how are we feeling right now? How are you guys doing? What's up? What's up, Omar? What's up, Omar? Trini in the house. Nice, nice. But I'm going to pause and say, how are we doing right now? I'm going to pause. I've paused at the first step in getting you what you need, and that is up and running with your sample database. And that's where I'm at right now. I just simply navigated to that first link, took me to the SQLite download page here. And now I've clicked on this item on the left. Are we all here? Okay. All right. Yeah, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Awesome. Again, I don't know, just want to emphasize, like, I'm talking a lot now. There is going to be a segment just to give you a little bit of the format to come, where I'm going to walk you through just getting you set up and walk you through some of the basics, but it's really meant to be self-serve. And once you serve yourself in terms of walking through the session, you will inevitably have some roadblocks, and that's where I come in. And please use the chat to ask questions when that time comes, right? That's really how it's meant to be. I am talking way too much already, but I'm just getting you up and running at this point. There is going to be another segment where you're just working through. I'm probably going to pause for a little bit, let that happen. There is going to be another at least a large segment, as large as possible, for more question asking, more dedicated to question asking. But along the way, please feel free to ask along the way. And there are some giveaways if you could stick with us all the way to the end. There's some cool gifts at the end. Some really, really cool gifts, I might say, particularly that we have on hand right now. So it's in your benefit to stay at the end. But let's just say, again, how we're doing. All right. All right. So here we go. So we've downloaded and went to the first step, our sample database. And guess what? With that first step, it's done, right? Now we go to step two. The DB browser software for SQLite. So when I click on that button, that takes us to this official website of the dbbrowser.org. Now, what is DB browser? So what we are downloading here is the software that goes along with the sample database. The software that works or relates to a database is called a relational database management system. It's simply the type of software you use to work with a database. And I use often the analogy of a relational database management system is like sneakers, to me at least. Me being a sneakerhead, I like Nikes, I like Reeboks. I like my sneakers, Adidas, and really and truly, despite the different brands and their angles, they do the same function. They protect your feet. And much like a RDBMS or relational database management system, there are many flavors, like DB browser for SQLite. There is Microsoft SQL Server. There is Oracle. There is PostgreSQL, and on and on. Uh, Different flavors, all performing the same function. They allow you to write SQL and query the database. Right? They have their own little nuances and flavors, but they're largely performing the same function. Okay, all right, let's get into installing this. Windows. For the Windows folks, you want to navigate to the second to last link. Most Windows folks have a 64-bit version of Windows, and you just want to click on the standard installer. That will download an MSI file for the Windows folks. By the way, I'm on a Mac, so I'm not going to kick this off. And once you click on that or open that file, once it's downloaded, you simply go through the easy next step-by-step install instructions. Really simple, really straightforward. Okay. Similarly, if I scroll down on that same page, for the Mac folks, you click on the only option that there is, DB browser for SQLite. And once you click on that, that triggers the download of a DMG. The DMG, once it's finished downloading, much like the Windows folks, you open it and you go through the very simple install instructions, next. One caveat for the Mac folks, usually the last step, which is to drag that icon of DB browser, which is usually on the left, over to your applications folder, which is on the right. You have to drag it over there, drop it in the folder, and then it becomes available. Okay. With that action, you're done with step 1 and you're done with step 2. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause very quickly, say how we're doing. Hopefully there's no issue with the download of that relational database management system. I will say it's called SQLite, but not to be confused by its robustness or ability to perform the function of any robust database. It simply refers to its ability to be easily installed, and it's referred to as a file database. If you have any device, iPhone, Android device, any handheld device, you have SQLite in there. It is the most distributed database in the world, and that's not me just saying that. That's a fact. Okay, so let's go to the next session. With that, we could go to the introduction. And what is the introduction? So the introduction just tells you a little bit about the aim of the course, a little bit about relational database management systems, which I just talked about a bit. And if you are a total beginner, if you have never been exposed to the world of SQL, I would recommend not skipping the introduction nor the section that is to follow. Okay. Again, I'm just walking you through, giving you sort of a training wheel session here, but I will talk a bit about the environment and how to navigate in it a bit. And that's going to really help you get up and running with everything else that's to come. The idea again here is to give you the basics, just enough to be dangerous, if you will, so that you could actually perform analysis as a detective and solve who actually performed this crime. Okay, so let's not forget the fun part of this. So again, you're probably going to see a little bit about the basics of just how to navigate and what to do in this environment, but then you just get into the game of things. Okay. All right. So let's walk you through. I'm on a Mac again, by the way. So I'm going to start things up here. It's probably going to look weird for a little. So if you are on a Mac, I'm going to try to make this big screen here. All right. If you're on a Mac and you want to go to exactly where I am, you go to Finder, you go to Applications, and then you find what's highlighted here, DB Browser for SQLite. If you are on a Windows machine and you just did that install, install that DB browser for SQLite, you want to go to Start, Programs, and then you want to search for the exact same name here, or look for that same name, or simply type it in the search bar, right? Either or, you want to look for this icon and you start that up, okay? Once you double click, start that application up, I'm going to just walk you through the environment here. And this is also baked into the lesson. So in case you haven't, if you miss something, if something isn't clear, or if you just feel like you just kind of want to look on for a little while, know that you can always come back to this lesson, right? And everything that I'm talking about here is really, really in there already. Okay. All right. So where are we? Once you actually kick off this software, and let me pause again for a little bit, make sure I'm not missing. By the way, I have to pause and kind of do a dance here because I have one computer. I'm talking to you here, and I'm looking over here for your questions, and I don't want to miss any questions. So let me just make sure. Okay. If you do have questions, ask away. Will there be a recording? Yes, there'll be a recording of the session. This session will live on LinkedIn as a live stream. By the way, folks, feel free, and I heavily encourage you to reach out to me, right? Reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect. I'm not going to be like on this session here and not respond if you reach out to me on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect, feel free to reach out, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, okay? All right, let's continue, okay? Let's get use of the time here. Try to make maximum use of it. So let's talk about DB browser for SQLite. This is our environment. This is our chosen relational database management system of choice. And here, once we actually open this software, we have a few main things. So we will be working with an existing database. That was that first step, which gave you the sample database. So we, in a bit, will click on this open database, which allows you to open an existing database. If we were to build a brand new database, there's that option within this software as well. And you could actually build out a new database. But we're not going to do that right now. Other main components of this area here, database structure, and you'll see what populates once we open that database. One of the main areas that we'll be working with. Browse data, we're going to be looking at that. Edit pragmas, that's not really going to affect our effectiveness in our ability to solve this crime. So we're not going to spend too much time here. We're going to look a lot and spend a lot of time in the Execute SQL tab. Okay, all right. First step is to open that database, okay? So once you click on that open database, you would get this pop-up, and you want to navigate most likely to your download folder, right? I am looking for this file, WSDADB. I just have a little 1 and the parentheses because there's another file somewhere which I'm not going to look for. But this is what you want to look for. Most likely the file, that first step, would end up in your download folder. You want to navigate there if it's not defaulted to that, and just click on this WSDA_DB and click on open. Okay, first step. With that first step taken, you now have 6 tables, right, appearing in your database structure tab. By the way, by the time I just walk through this session, I'm going to stop for a moment so that you in turn can really just absorb the session and not have to hear my voice continuously. I work through the session. In that session, or in that segment, I'm really available for questions. So, I helpfully and heavily encourage that, okay? All right. So, database structure. One second. Got to wet the palette there a little. Make sure I could be clear. So, database structure here. You see 6 tables have appeared, and database structure is really meant to give you an overview of the database. We have just opened our WSDA_DB database, and the structure tells us some high level insight. It gives us some high level insight about this database. It's very important. I myself, in all the 20 plus years I've been doing this, still employ this method today because you have to get familiar with the database that you're not familiar with. You may walk into an environment where you have no clue what this database looks like, and you have to kind of get an overview of things and understand. So the database structure is a great place to do that. You have 6 tables, high level. You could tell what tables are there. There's an account table, bank transaction. The names of these tables are important to take note of. Clues you in again. What type of data may be stored, the names might be telling of that, right? It gives you a little more insight of how many tables. And once you see the little arrow next to this table here, the account table, I'm going to click on that and expand that, and that shows you even more insight. It tells you now within this table how many columns or fields there are, right? And even more data or more insight, it tells you what type of data is housed within each of those fields. And even more insight, it tells you a little more of the type of, or the data type. For instance, this nvar char, it tells you that this 255 is the amount of data or the amount of space that's allocated within this data type. And nvar char is nothing more than character or text. Integers are numbers, right? So that's the types of data that's housed here. And this is all insight that you can totally get from the database structure. You could repeat that for every table in here and get insight. And that's a method I employ. On top of these methods, by the way, which is not always in the software, is talking to people, right? Talking to the right people, asking questions. Where do you usually get this data from? What's the most important data that people care about? Where are those tables housed? Those types of questions to people are also insight into a new environments database, which is not always in the software, okay? Browse data is giving you some insight, right? So I just clicked on the browse. I went from database structure to browse, and it gives you some insight. Tells you those same 6 tables by this drop down and gives you what's not the table structure, but what's housed within that table, right? So if I click on that account, I see all of the data that's housed within this account table, and a lot of insight again. Down here, I could tell there's 102 accounts, sorry. Right? And I could flip through all of those pages. So another insight. So I got the structural insight. Now I've got the insight in terms of the type of data that's housed in there and what actually is in there, okay? Again, edit pragmas is more about things about like the indexing and stuff, which is really not in scope. So I'm not really going to spend some time here as mentioned. And then the most significant part as well, which is used in conjunction with the database structure and the browse data, is the execute SQL, right? Execute SQL is 3 main panes that you see here, 3 main components. Here, where I'm typing, just random letters, is where you compose your query. And that's where, as you go through the lesson, you'll be typing, and I highly encourage you to type out some of the queries that you see in the lesson. Once you actually compose a query and execute it, you would be clicking on one of these buttons here to the top, which is execute the SQL. And then you would see the result in the bottom pane here, okay? So that was sort of the quick, in a nutshell, wrap of things. I am going to now pause a little bit for a few minutes because, again, we're in a stream here. So I'm going to allow you to just step through the session, and I'm just going to flip back over here really quick. So here we have the session, and everything like I've just been mentioning and talking about is here. And you can walk through. The basics tells you, again, just the basics. And again, I'll highly recommend this for those who are brand new to this. It really gives you a nice introduction to how you should look at queries right off the bat. It has questions built in. So at this point, just from reading about a quarter page down, you should be able to compose a query and write and execute and see some results, okay? So, all right, as mentioned, I'm going to Wind down, pause. Wow, I had to drink some water. I still have to drink some more. I'm going to do that. I'm going to allow you to work through the session for a few moments in this at this point as well. I'm going to pay more attention to the comments. Thank you for allowing me to take a little sip here. And okay, I'm going to pay more attention to the comments and please ask away. This is the difference maker, as I mentioned, right? Please ask away, and I will do my best to respond to each. Okay. So Angus, you're asking, are we coming back to this before the Q&A? So the intent here is really to give you a little flavor right now in this moment to just walk through the course. And yes, there is going to be a Q&A session at the end, if that's what I'm understanding. If I'm answering the question correct. Hopefully I got you there. Let me know if not. Okay. So you have a version of SQLite 333. Christina, I see you there. I want to believe that's the latest version. I'm going to actually stop sharing here for a sec. Okay. So I want to believe that is the latest version, but as mentioned, or as I just walked through, just go to that download page, DB browser download, and if you're on a Windows, that version that I showed you, that's their latest version. So that's the best way to get the very latest version if you're unsure about what version you have, and you could double check on that page as well. Do we need to download SQLite? Yes. So that DB browser for SQLite in that very first segment of the Heist, the lesson, that second or the button that was on the right, when you navigate to the download page, that takes you to the DB browser org website, which is the official website, and that gives you the very latest version of the software. Long way of saying yes, you do need that software. So why do you need the software? We have the sample database, and again, the software simply allows us, like any software with what's its function, like I mentioned with the different sneaker types, it's just a software built for us to actually write queries and examine the database. Right, great questions. I'll keep them coming. Gonna pause a few more moments. This is the difference maker, right? Because I have been in sessions and segments myself where you feel like, hey, I just want to blend in, but like it's great when you ask questions because that really fosters a great community, which is what this is all about. And again, you maximize your time, right? Because you could sit down and do this outside of this segment, which I'd encourage you to do, but you don't have that, hey, that press button, hey, what's this about? So ask even if you think it's not something to ask. Do ask. I'm gonna give about 1 more minute or so of this segment, give or take. Listen to the reggae vibration in the meantime. By the way, like I said, we're taking requests. I feel like a DJ at the same time. I had to regulate to copyright-free music, so this is it. Okay. All right. I am going to segue a little. I am going to pause and just really ask again if there's any questions. If there are any questions about not just this lesson here about SQL in general and SQL, how does it fit into things? And by the way, if you are, this is very SQL, and if this is something I know sometimes everyone's saying this word SQL, SQL, what is it? What does it even mean? If this is like complete gibberish to you, we are having a session next week, and that is on the 14th, where if you have no clue where it is that you want to get involved in this thing called data, we are having a segment which is completely called Where to Get Started with Data. And it tells you how you would introduce yourself to the tools and the ways that you would get educated and get started with this thing called data and data analysis. So that's next Wednesday. You will see it very much where you saw this stream. It's available right now, so feel free to jump into that one, and we'll be talking a little bit more about where to get started with data. Okay, all right. So at this point, okay, I know there's a little delay, so I'm just looking at the questions here. Correct. So the idea is, and Tashima, I'm responding to Tashima about your question. Should we be following the instructions on the site, or will you be giving instructions? The first is correct. You just follow the instructions. As I mentioned, I was talking a lot, and the idea is really just to give you enough to get up and running. But the format of this is really self-serve, not just for this stream here, but for beyond it. And you walk through at your pace. You come when you want, you leave when you want. This is really not me stand up and talk your ear off, but give you enough to just get up and running and serve yourself with this, which is why I emphasize the question asking aspect. So as you walk through on your own, please do ask a question. And if you have some difficulty or you want another perspective in understanding something, that's why I'm here. Right? Great question, by the way. Okay. So do you have any sources of practicing SQL syntax? Well, this is exactly what this exercise does. So the idea here is to give you the basics. So you just need, when you're learning a new language, of course, you just need to know the new basics. And this is what this course does. It's very introductory, but it gives you enough to start actually writing and composing queries and performing analysis, right? It doesn't emphasize that a lot in terms of it being a game and you're being able to find who's behind the theft of something. But to do that, you need to understand the basics of SQL, right? And by writing and going through the sessions, that's the intent of you getting some practice with this. Okay. Emily, if you're getting some problems in getting the result, the segment should tell you how to do it, but very quickly in that Execute SQL tab, if you take any one of those queries that you have been introduced to in the lesson, you put that in the Execute SQL tab, and that's the very first pane up top, and you execute that SQL by clicking on the play button, which is right above in the menu. You will see the result of that query. Even though I just mentioned to copy and paste it, I would highly recommend that you just type it out. You probably will have some errors, and that's a good thing. And you keep going until you get the correct answer. You do the same thing, you execute that SQL, and you're going to see that result, but you're going to be a lot much more rewarded for doing that. Okay, but good question. Okay. Okay, Roy, I got you. The session on the 14th, yeah. So, yeah, it sounds like, Roy, that you are into just trying to execute some SQL, which is awesome. And that's exactly where I'd like to have you up and running and feeling that you're ready to do that. And this segment is going to get you through it a little more than the 14th, which is an introduction if you just kind of don't know where to even get started and you never even heard of SQL. So you're right about that. So ask questions even beyond this, and I'll be happy to respond. Okay, I'm going to take one or two more questions. So Roy, again, you're saying you have to type commands and nothing shows up in the instructions on SQL basics. Okay, so all right. I mean, Roy, it's that first segment. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It's something that you have to just walk through, right? And we've been on the segment here probably about 25 minutes or so, 30 minutes. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And part of learning this skill really isn't about the syntax. It really is about how you approach it, right? It is going to be having its challenging moments. It is going to have some moments of frustration, but that's the moments when you know if it's for you or not, right? That's the moments when you know where you could actually power through and actually make sense of this thing and feel like you could be confident in it or not. And that's okay too, okay? But it is going to take some grit to walk through it. And that's why I'm here to help. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause at that one for the question taking. Now is the exciting part. Now is the part where I get to tell you a little bit about some gifts that's going to come your way, which is awesome, by the way. So, in honoring that, I am going to start with number one. In this month, the course that I have on LinkedIn Learning, the top 5 things to learn in SQL, is going to be free to you, all of you, by the way, not just, usually if you've been here before, we do a 24-hour giveaway, and you probably know that. So I'm not going to say 24 hours. I'm going to say for the entire month of September, right? And this is an awesome giveaway, thanks to LinkedIn Learning, which is running the future proofing of your career, right? The skills that's going to have you able to future proof your career. And guess what? SQL is certainly one of those skills. And you can actually do the heist in the top 5 things to do in SQL. Okay. So it's going to give you a different version of it. And this is a great way to get some training wheels. But in the top 5 things, you're going to go much more in depth. You're going to use a much more robust software. And it's an awesome giveaway. So I would say use the link. And again, only that link at the bottom of your screen right now. Navigate to it. I know it's probably a bit frustrating because I don't think you could click on it. But please do use that link and take advantage of this awesome giveaway, which is only going to last for the month, but it's an entire month where you can learn SQL, right? You have the whole month to learn SQL. So take advantage of it. Use the link below and navigate and take advantage of that gift now. So, not done with the gifts, okay? I am not done with the gifts. So, in honoring one of the things that we do all the time is we do a raffle, right? We do a giveaway, and the giveaway is for LinkedIn Premium. Now, Premium gives you some awesome benefits. It gives you the ability to have a lot more insight with regard to your profile, send messages. So you're going to get a free 3-month subscription to LinkedIn Premium. One person though, one person. So how are we going to do this? We are going to do this via a raffle. Probably seen this before if you tuned in, but let me get set up here. By the way, you're going to see me navigating a little bit with my software here. So I'm just getting used to things. So forgive me if you see a little bob and weaving here. Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. It's going to look strange again. And what I'm going to do is ask you in the chat right now for that lucky person, and it's only going to apply to anyone who puts in the chat right now hashtag data no doubt. Now this enters you into our raffle here and gives you a chance to win LinkedIn Premium for 3 months. Okay, so put in the chat right now hashtag data no doubt. That gives you a chance, and it's going to start registering. Okay, hashtag data no doubt. Okay, see him. I see you coming in. See you coming in. Okay, so far, awesome giveaway here, folks. So far, I see like 5 folks are in there. That makes the odds really good. I know there's a lot more people in the room. Hashtag data no doubt. I'm going to let it be open for, okay, I see a couple more coming in. Hashtag data no doubt. A few more moments, and we're going to wrap things up. By the way, this is us kind of winding down here a bit, but we're going to wrap things up pretty soon. Probably end off with a couple questions, and then wrap things up. All right. Hashtag data no doubt. A few more moments. Let's see. Okay. I think that's it. Let's go. Let's see who is the lucky person. Okay. Vicky Cushman. You are the lucky winner. Vicky Cushman, you're the lucky winner of LinkedIn Premium for 3-month subscription. Awesome. You're going to love it. So how do you take advantage of this? Please just message me on LinkedIn, send me a message, and I will get you all hooked up with your brand new subscription. Okay, awesome. Congratulations, Vicky Cushman. Okay, as mentioned, I'm going to segue for a couple moments here as we wrap up, probably in the next couple, 2-3 minutes. Any questions? Yes, congratulations, Vicky. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. You almost, I saw that. You almost win. You almost got it. It's like that wheel, like on the Wheel of Fortune, and you just almost got that big prize. Yeah, I saw it. I feel you, but there's a next time. Yeah, Roy, I saw you too. That's okay. We got more next time. There's next time though. Congratulations. Yes, awesome. Congrats, Vicky. You are the lucky winner. So, any last questions? I'm taking them now. By the way, the great things that you do have here is you always have access to that lesson now that you logged in. So you always have access to it. Like I mentioned, please do connect with me on LinkedIn. I am not going to not respond. In fact, I love responding to any questions about data analytics, about what we talked about here in this segment, about a LinkedIn Learning course, or anything to do with data analytics or the career of it. Okay, I actually love helping folks and giving whatever I can in that direction. So please do reach out to me if you don't have any questions right now after this segment. You always have access to that lesson, like I mentioned. So if you have questions that come up about the segment or the lesson or something that's a little confusing, feel free to ask me about it as well. Okay. You do have, like I mentioned, if you take advantage of that, let me just stop sharing here for a sec. I'm going to jump back over. All right. If you take advantage, I'm going to pop that up there again. Go to this URL and definitely take advantage of the month long of the course. It's awesome. You will learn a lot. It's very valuable. And it's, again, thanks to LinkedIn Learning that is recognizing that this is a skill that is going to future-proof your career. Okay. So go take advantage of this month of learning SQL. And to Vicky, congratulations once again for your winnings. Contact me for how to take advantage of what you have won. So at this point, I would like to wind down, say thank you so very much on this week of Labor Day. I hope everyone had fun with family, made the most of that time. Thank you so much for taking your time today and spending it with me. It's my honor. I do this out of a lot of passion. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you just taking the effort to want to learn a skill that's truly as valuable, that's helped me a lot in my career over the past 20 years or so. And again, I encourage you to ask questions, reach out, and talk to me. That's how we make the world go around. Okay. So thank you so much again. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.